Welcome back to another OTD unboxing video. Today I have for you something a little bit different. We actually have a box that may not look familiar to you. It's kind of a long rectangular box, but judging by the name of this thumbnail and the reason why you clicked on this video, you'll know that it is a unboxing of the latest color shifters mix. So color shifters BHR 15, this is mix C, and you'll see just exactly why we are unboxing it today. Thank you to Jcar Diecast for sending this case over. Jcar has these cases available. He's had these cases available for a little bit of time, and I understand why they aren't popular with collectors, but it may be time to get on board with the color shifters if everything is starting to look like this. All right, let's pull from the top here and just see what's inside. All right, first car out of the case. I'm sure it's the case, or well, it's one that a lot of collectors have been scooping up at the pegs. It's probably the most popular one in the case. It is the Nissan Skyline GTR R32. So it's been a hot minute since we've seen this casting in a Hot Wheels lineup, I think. Mostly you see the newer GTRs. This is the old Skyline casting from 2002. So if you look at the base, yeah, the base has actually been retooled. It used to just say Nissan Skyline. Now it's got the GTR R32 on the bottom. But this is the old Alec Tam designed Skyline. And it goes from red to black. So just a nice refreshing new car in the color shifters model. I feel like we've seen, and if you've paid attention, you may have not paid attention at all to the color shifters, because basically what's been going on for the last 10 years is they've been recycling releases year after year. I think there's a mini I collect, and then we've seen the same release of that mini since like 2012. 13 years later, we're still seeing it. So we're actually starting to see new releases in color shifters lineup, which is, I mean, maybe great for collectors in the long run. I know it's a line that's meant for kids. I know there's a packaging refresh coming for 2026, so be on the lookout for that. But this is the first really the first wave of kind of the new era of color shifters. So keep an eye out on the color shifters line. You may or may not just find a casting that you're interested in. Here's the R32, very popular amongst collectors. All right, next one out of the case. We're going to see a lot of Hot Wheels original designs in this case, and that's okay. That's what the that's kind of it's a kid design line. You're going to see a lot of those, but you'll see some licensed ones here. But this is the track tune. It's kind of like a faux Mitsubishi Eclipse convertible. If you had to put a manufacturer on it, it's kind of that era. This is the track tune. It's got the speakers in the back. The casting's been retooled several times since its initial release in what, 2000 and I want to say 2. But this one is a nice casting. I used to kind of like this casting. I actually kind of collected it back in the day. I have lost interest since, but it is a plastic-based metal-based plastic body, like you'll see a lot of these color shifters are. This the color. What is this one? I wonder if this is a metal body. I'll have to look. But all right, next one out of the case, we have Barbaric, another Hot Wheels original design. Barbaric is a kind of like a Mad Max meets futuristic GTO kind of casting. But yeah, mostly known for its big giant like razor saw blade on the hood there. Next one out of the case. Let's get to, there we go. All right, we got the Mattel Dreammobile. We just saw this one released in the Mattel 80th anniversary, like little on the card by itself and in the main line, both of which were the same release. This one is different. It's kind of a mint green, and I think it goes to like a dark green, judging by the artwork here. And you got the kind of like a 50s style star deco on the sides. The OG Mattel car. Speaking of one of the OGs, we have, I'm just making a mess over here. Let's set that down. We have the Volkswagen Drag Bus. So if this was like color shifters circa 2005, you would have heard a lot of hype around this release. The Drag Bus has kind of fell off a little bit. Modern collectors aren't really into it as the older collectors were back in the day. But this was like the original hype machine. You saw it on all kinds of promos. The 96 first edition was, insanely popular. This one, you might see it on the pegs. You might not. It might be one of the first to go. Still a great casting, big bodied. The original, Phil Reelman design. The metal base on here. No opening hinge on this. I will note that this does have the double rivet here, so this does have a closed body. But still, another drag bus for those drag bus collectors. I don't know how many there are out there, but I'm venturing to guess at least a couple hundred releases of it. All right, okay, we got our first two per case here. It is the Segundo Coupe. It is a Hot Wheels original design as well, and I think it's a super cool car actually. I really like this casting. I think it was designed by Sonny Fisher, if I'm remembering correctly. And it's got kind of like the round headlights in the front, just kind of a GT style car. The base, it's hard to tell. It looks like the base might be plastic. Yeah, it's hard to tell. I'm not sure how much of these. I know these cars are supposed to be more metal, at least metal, like track worthy. So, and I think the axles at one point they were nickel plated, not for speed, but for so they didn't rust when kids put them in the water. So I'm not sure if that actually has any impact on how well these race on track. But the Segundo Coupe here in kind of a cool white deco with, I think, in the cold it turns purple. But cool casting. Not sure. I may eventually collect that casting. Not entirely sure. So, but another one on the mix is the Fast Feline in blue, light blue. Number 23 on the sides. Looks like another one that goes purple when cool. The Fast Feline has been around for a while. Kind of a Hot Wheels take on a more futuristic Jaguar, right? Or of that kind of European descent. I like how you can see with the engine or the drivetrain sticking through the bottom of the base. It also sticks through the hood there. Some cool hood scoop. And the last one on the case, I think a lot of people are going to be interested in. I don't know. I haven't seen much talk about this one online, but it is. Well, there's a couple things going here. It's a brand new casting. Yes, a brand new casting to debut in color shifters, which is interesting enough. But it's also a Transformers release. So it is one of the cars from Transformers, brand new casting, and yeah, designed by Eric Hahn. Just a nice Corvette casting. Eric owns a Corvette himself, not this generation, but a little bit newer. And it goes from this blue to a black color. The Transformer logo will obviously fade when it goes to black or disappear in the darkness. But the Transformers 1980 Chevy Corvette. So we get two of them in this case, which is nice. So unlike the Skyline, which only comes one to a case, and the Volkswagen Drag Bus that comes one to a case, this one comes two to a case. So great to see, not only it being a Transformers release, but also a new casting. So you have to be on the lookout for this new Chevy Corvette. And I don't know, the body must be metal if the base is plastic. So I'll pop these open and you'll be seeing them on the turntable. But I'm looking at, for the first time, checking out this brand new casting. Very cool. So 10 cars in this case. BHR 15 if you're seeing this one at retail. Mix C. 10 pieces to this case. Obviously the highlights for me are the Corvette, the Skyline, and the Drag Bus. All of which, if I didn't already have the case, I would be picking them up at retail. So, but there's some cool fantasy cars in this case too. If you're a fantasy collector, you might want to consider picking these up. I really think the Segundo Coupe is really cool, and I'm not sure if I'll eventually collect it, but we'll see. Maybe we'll get a really cool release in and maybe like a Super Treasure Hunt, probably more likely, or some kind of premium execution of it. That'd be really cool. Fast Feline, Mattel Dreammobile, and Barbaric, and Track Tune. So that rounds out the case. 2 duplicates, 8 new releases. Thanks again for watching. Make sure you keep an eye out on the next video.